always interesting how people who are watching you from afar can somehow tell what your real passions and loves are when you're just too close to know what they are. You're listening to Creative Breakthrough, the podcast that provides you with the strategies to elevate your creative passion to the next level. I'm your host, creative hustler, and chicken wing lover, Shireen Kassam, aka the Funny Brown Girl. And yes, I have an unhealthy obsession with chicken wings. Now, get ready to flex your creative muscle and keep winning. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Breakthrough. I'm your host, Shireen Kassam. Hey, big news. We are trending in Kenya, and not just like trending. We're in the top 20. So thank you to my Kenyan listeners. I appreciate you and I love you. This is my last episode for 2019. Last year, I did an episode on goal setting and how much I love the end of the year because it's a time to reflect on the past year and plan for the next year. If you struggle with goal setting and unsure how to plan for the future, check out last year's episode and download my goal setting worksheet. I've also put the links in my show notes, which you can get to at creativebreakthroughpodcast.com. December is a difficult month for me. It always has been. I always find myself in a funk. A lot of people say it's seasonal depression, but I live in Florida, so I don't really think we have seasonal depression here. I know it was definitely a thing when I lived in Seattle, but I just feel like I'm always in a funk in December because for one, it's when I started working in corporate America. And so every year when December rolls around and I realize it's my corporate anniversary, I get a little bit depressed that I'm still in corporate America and not out there living my best life in the creative space. I also feel like this year I'm in a funk because I didn't accomplish as much as I had hoped for. And as I was like sitting here thinking about it, I was like, oh my God, I didn't do anything this year. And then I was like, let me check Instagram. And thank God for Instagram because I definitely accomplished a lot. It just was at the very beginning of the year and didn't continue throughout the year. I knew 2019 wasn't going to be the best year for me. I came into the year hoping it was going to be a great year, but unfortunately there was just a lot happening. I knew 2019 wasn't going to be the best year. I was in a miserable job and would spend the first 7 months of the year actively job searching. And when you start a new job, most of your time is focused on the learning curve and doing a great job. I got super lucky with my new job. I had a great boss, or I still do have a great boss, and I got to be on the launch team for Disney+. So there's a win there, but man, was I busy. Comedy took a back burner this year. I didn't do half as many shows as I would have liked, but I also didn't try. I said no to more shows than I said yes. And as I'm saying this, I'm contemplating if it's time to stop doing comedy and focus my attention elsewhere. Perhaps comedy is a stepping stone to something else, or maybe it was just a means to find myself, which I spoke in the previous episode 41. I also feel I'm in a funk because I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. I want to do everything, and I did this year. I did everything. I did comedy. I acted. I did radio. I traveled. I did this podcast. I started a business. I played competitive sports. I tried to do it all. But really, where am I going, and what is the end goal? Honestly, I have no idea, and I wish somebody would tell me what it is. And as the year went by, auditions stopped coming my way. I stopped being invited to come on the radio. My relationship began to fall apart. And by December, all I have now is this podcast. And while I love doing this podcast, I felt by now I would be more further along in just not only in my creative journey, but even how this podcast is doing. I mean, I'm super blessed that you guys tune in week after week and that we're trending in now 6 countries or 7 countries. But I don't know. I always had this vision that I was going to become a full-time podcaster. And I know I can still become one. And it's only been a year and I need to slow down and put in the effort and the time. But I don't know. I'm just getting anxious. I'm getting antsy. I want something to happen. And I didn't accomplish the goals I was hoping for this year. I had a whole list of goals I wanted to accomplish. And the sad part is that when I tell you what these goals are, I didn't even actually do anything to try to accomplish these goals. I didn't do a TED Talk, but hey, I didn't even apply to do a TED Talk. I didn't even submit an application this year. I didn't write a second screenplay. Again, I didn't even write a log line yet. I didn't write a one-woman play for the Fringe. I even forgot to submit for the lottery. So maybe I'm not forgetting to do these things. Maybe I'm just scared of failing. I didn't advance my creative career. I mean, both Jeff Friday, the founder of American Black Film Festival, and Bob Sumner, the founder of Def Comedy Jam, commented on my lack of presence in the comedy scene this year. And that even put me in a bigger funk. Even though I purposely wasn't doing comedy, the fact that they noticed put me in a funk. I just feel stagnant this year, as if I lack motivation and inspiration. Sure, I had some really big wins. I started a business that may lead to financial freedom. I've been podcasting for a full year now, and we're trending in so many countries, which a lot of podcasts can't say that they are. I made it to the finals of Florida's Funniest, even without doing comedy 5 or 6 days a week like everybody else in the competition did. And seriously, like at that moment, I was like, oh my God, I could have won this if I had just put some more time into comedy. But the people who won, the people who came out on top, are the people who continued to go out night after night, which I have just stopped doing. And I don't know why. I got to do comedy in Africa. I mean, how cool is that to go to South Africa and do comedy? And I'm just like, meh. And those are big wins. But like I said, I feel meh. Like I feel like I'm not fulfilled. I didn't win any competitions. I didn't travel as much for comedy or speaking. I didn't attend any festivals. I don't have those moments this year to say, hey, my hard work is paying off. I've been having urges to start writing, but that could be because I binge watched 5 seasons of Jane the Virgin, which really is how I've been spending most of my free time lately, watching TV, which is really not like me. But even with that, I've been asked to submit writing samples for various competitions in the last few months, and I just sat back and watched the deadlines pass. I don't know why I didn't submit. I've started researching MFA programs. I even had the balls to tell my parents I wanted to go back to school and do an MFA and explain to them what that is. And I'd like to say that if anyone is listening that has an MFA, please reach out because I would love to pick your brain. But again, I'm not sure if I really want an MFA or if I'm doing it because it'll surround me with creatives and hopefully inspire me. I know in 2020 I want to select 1 or 2 goals to focus on. I realize I can't do everything anymore. I don't know if it's just old age or I'm having a hard time multitasking, but over the past few weeks I've been in a state of exhaustion. Maybe it's because I'm doing this whole wake up in the morning before work and working out thing, which I still don't get how some of you guys do that, because I think half of that is why I'm just exhausted. But I just feel like I need to focus my time on my main goals, because if I try to do everything, I may never succeed. The question is, what are the main goals? Like, I have no idea. So I know that for the next few weeks before 2020 gets here, I am going to spend a lot of time thinking about what's next for me. What do I want to accomplish in 2020? And if you have any thoughts or advice, please let me know, because I'm always looking for a sounding board or someone who may have an outside opinion, because it's always interesting how people who are watching you from afar can somehow tell what your real passions and loves are when you're just too close to know what they are, if that made any sense. And it wouldn't be a Creative Breakthrough episode without some Instagram love. So if you're new to this podcast, I love Instagram quotes. And the quote for 2020 is, "Don't be surprised if you go from depending on a paycheck to making the Forbes list. It's your winning season." And I'd love to know what your goals for 2020 are. So send me a message at info@funnybrown.com or drop it on the Facebook page. If you're not a member of the Facebook page already, I highly suggest that you become one. Just go to funnybrownGirl.com/Facebook. So what I'm trying to say with all of this babbling is that if you feel unsure of your creative careers or goals, it's okay. We can figure it out together. Perhaps we can have a virtual roundtable or a conference call with a handful of listeners and brainstorm and help each other flesh out 2020 goals and ideas to act upon them. If this is something you'd be interested in, let me know and let's make it happen. Again, as this year comes to an end, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in to this podcast. I love sharing guest stories with you, and I do hope that they're informational and insightful. I wish you and your families a happy holidays, and remember, if you don't know what to get me for Christmas, an Apple review will be awesome. Now, go flex your creative muscle and keep winning. Thanks for listening. Stay connected about upcoming resources, including opportunities, festivals, competitions, and grants to help you grow your creative passion by subscribing to my bi-monthly newsletter by visiting funnybrownGirl.com/subscribe. Don't miss out on a life-changing opportunity and subscribe today at funnybrown.com/subscribe. And hey, if you decide to go on Instagram today, follow me. I'm Funny Brown Girl. I'm Shireen Kassam, and you've been listening to Creative Breakthrough. Now, go flex your creative muscle and keep winning.